Speaking of notes, that's another part of this thing which is really cool. I am the kind of person that when I read, if I'm going to spend time reading a book, I want to try and retain as much as possible from it. So I do take some notes. With a Kindle, it enables you to do that, and you don't have to have paper and pencil or anything like that. So let's say we want to take notes on something else. Just for the sake of discussion, I'm going to go to somewhere else. And in this case, it says, let there be no confusion in the stakeholder's mind about what you expect to accomplish. Well, for some reason, I want to comment or make a notation of that for later on. So I move the cursor up to the top of the line, to the beginning of the line where it captures that particular paragraph or that particular sentence. I move the cursor up to the point where it captures the first part of that sentence that I want to comment on in the form of a note. I click the button, and then there is a menu selection called Add Note, and then I line up with Add Note. I push the button again, and it gives me a little notepad thing to write on. Just for the purpose of the discussion, I'm just going to put in some characters here. You can actually type up a note here, and then when you're finished, it's lined up with Done. You click Done. And now what's going to happen is it's going to take that note and it's going to associate it with that paragraph section of the book that you would actually make the comment on. And later on you can search and bring up that note. You can review it, or you can download it once you have the Kindle connected to your computer. Another handy thing about the Kindle when it comes to saving your work or being able to return to where you left off is it has two kinds of bookmarking features. The first one is where it actually automatically bookmarks a page when you turn it off, and when you turn it back on, it returns you to where you left off. The other one is the form of manual bookmarking. In this case, what we have up in this corner is basically a diagonal line at the top. That indicates that this page is not yet bookmarked. So in order to bookmark it, you slide the cursor all the way up to the top, where it lines up with that diagonal line. You push the button. It sets the bookmark from a diagonal line to something that appears similar to like a dog-eared page on a regular paper book. Here's another thing I like about the Kindle, and it has to do with carrying a lot of weight around in the form of an extra book. And the kind of book I'm referring to right now is a dictionary. The Kindle has an Oxford Dictionary resources that has available to it. And just for the sake of discussion, I want to show you how that works, because you can look up words in context from what you're reading. You don't have to really break your trend of thought too much to pull out a great big dictionary and look at it. So let's pretend for the sake of the discussion that we don't know what entrepreneurship means. So basically then you go up to the line that has the word entrepreneurship in it, as you can see right there, and let's pretend we don't know the definition, so we want to know the definition. So basically, you push the cursor wheel once, it brings up that familiar menu, and it says look up. You line it up to look up, push the button, and it's going to go open up this great big thick electronic dictionary, and it's going to look up the word entrepreneurship. And you can see the definition comes up, so you can see what an entrepreneur is, and it's a pretty thorough definition. And this really comes in handy when you are not in a place where you have access to a dictionary. Now you push the button to close it. Under the same category of reference material as you read, you also have capability of going into the internet and accessing the internet encyclopedia called Wikipedia. Basically, this connects itself to the resources of the entire Wikipedia, and it gives you all kinds of information that you may need in depth related to some particular context of the text that you're reading. In addition to the actual electronic reader and the notes and everything else that I've talked about, this little machine is also an MP3 player, and you can download MP3s. Let's say if you want to listen to music for whatever reason while you're reading. You can download MP3s, and below here, let me show you here, is a place for headsets and the volume. So you can actually listen to your MP3s while you are reading, or just listen to the MP3s. The other capability is that for those of you like myself who like to listen to audiobooks, you can also connect in through Amazon.com to Audible.com, which is a massive store that sells audiobooks. Now, I understand that the Kindle 2 has a capability of doing so-called text-to-speech, where it actually takes the text like this and it reads it with an electronic voice, which can come in handy sometimes if you're, let's say, you just don't want to read visually or it's too dark or whatever. But you do get that in the Kindle 2. You do not get that in the Kindle 1. So that's a brief explanation of how to use the Kindle. There's a lot more things you can do with it. I've just sort of scratched the surface, but it's very, very capable, and it's got a lot of features that can provide quite a bit of value to you. And the way that you can find that out is through the user manual. And the user manual that I'm providing with this Kindle is remarkably easy to use. It's very straightforward, and as user manuals go, it's one of the best that I've read. So I'd like to take some time now to explain a little bit about the user manual to see what you get on this auction. Here's the user's manual as I've downloaded it, printed it, and bound it for you. I have made a couple of modifications in it because, as good as the manual is, it did not have page numbers, and of course the table of contents didn't have any page numbers either. The actual electronic PDF document is done by hyperlinks. But for your purposes and for this hard copy, what I did is I added handwritten page numbers throughout just to make it easier to navigate through the printed version of this book. Also, I have just added the page numbers in the table of contents. Very easy to find information that you need. The actual explanations, as you can see here, it's really well laid out. You can take this and bring your Kindle in, and you can see very well explained how the parts work together. You can see how well it's illustrated, and it covers all parts, all angles of this device. And you can see right here where it's talking about this right here. This part is really good. It's very well illustrated, and it's easy to find any information if you have any kind of questions or just want to refer or the step-by-steps in operating this Kindle. In fact, in the process of deregistering it to get it ready for sale, I referred to this manual as well. It's very good, it's very clear, and it does provide you with an excellent resource to supplement your new Kindle. So there you have it. When you win this auction, you're going to get the Kindle itself, you're going to get the charger, you're going to get the USB cord, and you're going to get the manual. The Kindle will be deregistered and ready for you to open up a new account, and then once you get it, then you can start enjoying the books and all the advantages from the Kindle, or it can become a really great gift for Christmas for someone, a very special gift. So good luck on your auction, and thanks for watching this video.